Thank you, Teboho, for this interview. Um, we would like you to tell us a little bit how that coming of age, when it started when you started this project, and why the name Coming of Age.
Why the name Coming of Age? I think I started the project because I basically grew up in Lesotho, so it's it's not something that I didn't just end up in that country like that. You know, I grew up there and I spent most of my life there actually. So it seemed like quite a normal thing for me to make a film there. And it's not my first film that I made in Lesotho actually. It's my second or third. And I was approached by a local NGO to make a film about their work, and I said, that's great, but it would be much more interesting to make a film about the youth, because in Africa, everyone always says that the hope of the future of the continent rests on the shoulders of the youth. So I decided to make a film about young people growing up in a small village in Lesotho. Very simple. And what I realized in the film is that, or what I wanted to make with the film is how universal it is. That my children don't have any big problems. They don't have huge issues. They don't have things that they're kind of normal kids having normal problems. Even though it's in Lesotho.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really wanted to show, was that how that if you're in Sweden, in the countryside in Sweden, in the countryside in Guatemala, Lesotho, it's very similar, and that was important for me.
We were very intrigued with your film when we saw it in the selection process, because the theme of our festival of this edition is teenage.
Yes, exactly.
So we were that was something that we caught up. Your film was caught up to our attention because of that, of course. But it was also very interesting. Like you said, you treated those kids, those teenagers, as normal, as like you said, ordinary problems like everyone in the world has, not African problems or something like that. So we were really interested in that. When you started the film, when you started thinking about it, it was your idea to divide the film boys and girls, or that was something that just happened?
I knew at the beginning I wanted a boy and a girl. It was quite clear I needed a boy and a girl. But the fact that the two children never meet, like in the film's always cutting between the two stories, and you kind of think, it's sort of almost as if it's going to be this big star-crossed love affair, girl meets boy at the end of the film, but they never do, Yeah. And in fact, I had a scene where they actually do meet, where they or at least where they occupy the same space, but it was in the film for a long time, but we took it out at the end because it just didn't feel right. Because in fact, what I didn't understand is that in a small village like that, they're quite different class structures.
Oh.
The girls are a little bit more bourgeois. Grandmother's chiefs. The other one, kind of their parents have a shop. And the boys are a bit more, more simple.
They were shepherds.
They're shepherds.
Yeah.
So the girls sort of think that the boys smell of sheep. And the boys are a bit intimidated by the girls. They would never meet. So they never do meet, even though they live in a tiny place.
What was more challenging for you? The boys
or the girls? They were both challenging in different ways, It was with the boys, it was like the communication was very basic, Like I speak Sesotho, but my Sesotho is also not very good, And they were quite shy, so we just sort of, existed in the same space together, and they were very open and very relaxed, but like they didn't even realize that we were filming them, It was quite funny, like when I showed the film at I organized a screening in the village, and the boys saw their images, and they're like,
when did you?
They're like, what is this? They're completely
For how long did you
amazed.
Did you film there with the boys?
2 years.
2 years.
Every few months.
Every 2 months you went there and you stay there for some time?
Yeah, I think we filmed about 55 days, shooting days, or
Okay.
60 shooting days. But like, not much happens, you know, so we didn't even have that much material, you know. Sometimes we'd shoot half an hour a day, or an hour a day, or we won't shoot at all.
Well, for me, your film, there's no sense of, there's a sense of time because you see them growing, but you can't, I don't know, I can guess how how long
Yeah.
that process.
But it's a strange time as well in the time of the in the lives of the children, because they sort of occupy this sort of in between space, you know. Sort of, they're not children anymore. They're not necessarily adults, you know. They're sort of in between seasons, you know. And the whole, and for that was the title of the film for a while, In Between Seasons.
In Between Seasons.
Yeah. And they kind of like, it's sort of in this endless summer of childhood, you know, kind of, I don't know if you remember, but I remember having that sort of being in between seasons, you know. And what I find really interesting, or what is important for me in my work, is that I always focus on the process, you know, that the process of making a film is kind of where I find my film, you know. I find it in the process. I don't during the making, you know. I have an idea at the beginning, of course, but I always try to be flexible and open to the process. And so this film was another example of how I really did not know what I was doing, you know, for a long time. You know, I knew I was making this film, and I knew I had these little stories, you know, like the two girls and their friendship, you know, but I didn't know what the film was about until almost the very end, you know. And that's when I came up with this title, Coming of Age, because you know, that's you know, that's the film.
It's natural for you to title it.
And that's when I decided to stop making the film, you know, with this scene at the end.
Yeah, it's the last scene of the rite of passage, when the boy is all masked up, with all the boys are on the traditional wearings and traditional clothes. That was something that you knew that was going to happen, or it was something that they told you? What that scene, particularly for me, was really strong. So
I knew it was going to happen, and that's why I have this conversation earlier between the two boys, where the younger one asks him, "So when are you going to the initiation school?" You know, and I knew he was going to go there. So I kind of like directed that conversation.
Okay.
You know, I told the little boy to ask the older one that.
Okay.
You know? But I didn't know what it would look like, you know. I didn't know how he would be when he came back, you know. And I mean, and he comes back, and he's you know, he's like, his face is all
orange.
Yeah, but also like drawn, you know, like like his eyes are like, I mean, you can just see that he's in some sort of trance, you know. He's really gone through something really intense, you know.
Yeah.
And he's just so different, you know. And I wasn't prepared for that either. You know? Yeah. But I mean, this very secretive, you know. No one knows what happens at this initiation process, you know. It's they go up into the mountains for 4 months, and it's a big secret, you know. No one knows what happens. And the highlight of the ceremony is a circumcision. You know, they cut off the foreskin of, you know, their foreskins. But there's a whole kind of like mythology and ritual and strange traditions they learn around that are completely secretive, you know. So they offered that I could go as well, you know. They said, you know, no problem, it's okay, you know. I mean, you're white, and you know, you're half European, but it's no problem. You could go up, you know. But the problem is that we are worried that you white people would come back and tell, you know, spill the secrets.
Oh, spill the secret.
You know, write a book, make a film. And that's true, probably.
Probably
true, yeah. I mean, I find in your program quite interesting. You kind of a big blockbuster documentary like Cartel Land, I think that's called.
Yeah.
And then you mix it with a bit more art.
Art documentaries.
Or like Las Vegas, which could almost be in a video installation.
Yes.
You know, you kind of can walk in and walk out. You know, there's no narrative arc as such. You know, I mean, there is obviously a structure.
Why should we do it? Why do we?
I'm curious, like.
Well, it was.
And mine, which is more of a, I don't know, classical documentary perhaps.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, also experimental.
It's because of that. We wanted to have a broad and diverse selection of documentaries in our competition, like we have on the other programs. The other programs are we have a fashion program and we have a Lionel Rogers program. It's very different. And in the competition, we also thought that we should do that. We should reflect that diversity and that the amount of documentaries and genres of documentaries that exist.
But in general,
now.
your focus is you know, I mean, I suppose what a festival like this tries to do is it tries to kind of, not predict, but maybe predict the future of documentary filmmaking, right? You want to kind of show where the genre could go, or where the filmmaking goes.
Where not a prediction of the future, but now where is it now?
Okay,
where
understand where
it
it is now.
And the postdoc, the postdoc part is because of that openness, that diversity of the documentary. That's why.